We're back! New office, new place, and new echo. I'm sorry, office is not finished yet. It's gonna be soon, and hopefully by then it's gonna echo a lot less. But now we have a new Huawei phone for you. I had the opportunity to test out the P20 Pro, which is an amazing phone with 3 cameras. And yes, of course, you know me, I had to test it out. I had the opportunity to try out the P20 Pro in this amazingly gorgeous twilight color, which was given to me for temporary testing by my friend Vladimir Vulić, who was part of the Huawei International Key Opinion Leader program. And they got invited to Paris to the launch of P20 and P20 Pro. And as you can see, the photos they did were amazing. So thanks to Huawei and Vanya, let's check out how the 3 cameras perform. The interior is packing a Kirin 970 chipset with 6 GB of RAM and 128 GB of internal storage. You also get a 4000 mAh battery, which has proven to go easily without a problem for a day and a half of extensive use. It doesn't have a headphone jack, but you get the adapter. What immediately stands out is this triple camera array. We have a 40 megapixel main camera with a huge sensor. The second one is a 20 megapixel black and white camera. And the third one is an 8 megapixel telephoto camera for those lossless zooms. Having a huge sensor in the camera has its advantages. The sensor size here is about twice the size of other flagships. The bigger the sensor, the more light it can catch, which makes sensors like this great in low light conditions. That's something that I was always saying. All phones make good to great photos in natural light, in daylight, where there's a lot of light. But as soon as you go indoors, as soon as the light intensity drops, that's where every millimeter of a sensor shows its advantages. That's why DSLR cameras, for example, always make better photos than phones, because they have a giant sensor that is many times larger than the phone sensor. It's simple. With all those megapixels, one thing to keep in mind is that this all gets processed and downsampled to a 10 megapixel photo in the end, which in my opinion is still great for all your social media uploads, or even if you want to print it out in the typical photo size. And it's also saving storage on your phone. Okay, now let's open the camera app and do some photos. What we immediately notice is there's an AI trying to mingle its way into our photos and make them even better. And if you watched my camera test of the Mate 10 Pro, which was the first Huawei presented with the in-camera AI capabilities, you will know what kind of a love-hate relationship I have with it. So I decided to give these 2 AIs a side-by-side comparison. And what I noticed immediately is that they made adjustments a lot more subtle and much more natural. Okay, yes, some photos are still way too much a lot saturated and contrasty, and some of the backgrounds, especially in the portrait mode, are so forcefully blurred, it's painful. But then I started to think if it's just something in my head, if it's just my subjective opinion that I just don't like when my photos look so artificially changed, or is this a general opinion of the public? So I made a very scientific research and went to my Instagram stories to answer this question. And the results were shocking for me. Most of the people, the majority of people, even though the other person was completely blurred out, they still like the artificial blur. Yes, they preferred it more when the background was a little bit more subtly blurred, or in the product shots where it makes a really nice blur, but still, I was shocked, and then it makes sense that the manufacturers are pushing this kind of effect. Apparently, people like it. But yes, I am happy that there is more and more focus going into these effects, and that they are dialing it down a little bit, which makes me very happy. Because sometimes you would just like to have that background, you know? Especially if you take a photo in Paris, you want people to see that there's an Eiffel Tower behind, you know? That's the whole point of the photograph. One decision I applaud very much is that they finally gave us the option to turn off the AI. You can turn it off for all photos in the settings, or you can turn it off for this specific photo you are currently making right when it pops up. And when you turn it off, you get the beautiful basic photo that you can then edit as much as your heart desires in the apps of your choice. So once I just shot in normal photo mode and avoided portrait mode, turned off the AI and disabled the wide aperture effect, the photos I was getting were crispy clear with good dynamic range. That's the difference between the very bright and very dark spots. And also the colors were so true to life. It was amazing. I really enjoyed taking photos. I wasn't afraid I'm gonna accidentally blur something or somebody out that I don't want to blur out. I really loved it. With the increase of photography quality, you also get the increase in video quality. Especially when it comes to dynamic range, it really balances well the bright and dark spots, or if you have a light coming from the back of the subject, as I have here, a window. Stabilization is also handling it pretty well. You can see some jerky movement when you're going side to side, when the electronic stabilization doesn't really know what to do, but that is to be expected with all electronic stabilizations. Here are some samples. Let's try some video. So this is me in a shaded area, and now I'm going into a very bright sun, and my brow decided to go somewhere else. This is the horrible backlight, as you can see. Wow, you can really see how little I have slept in the last couple of days. I am attending TEDx. I am a TEDx speaker at this amazing hotel in close to Budva. So yeah, let's see how the stabilization is going. I think that with video these two cameras are pretty much very similar. So I'm wondering if we can see some difference. So how would I rate the camera in general? Since I am striving for photos that are as close to reality as possible, when you turn off all the artificial help, the photos become amazing. I really fell in love with them. But if you're somebody who likes strong contrasty colors and blurry backgrounds, you can also have that. So for me, the freedom of choice is the winning feature of this phone. Now I want to know your opinion of DII. How do you think it's progressing? What can they do better? Let me know in the comments down below. I'll be lurking in there, replying to them, and I will see you soon again. Ciao!